What up, y'all? It's your boy, Bellrain Firewolf. I'm doing this video mainly because, well, I kind of want to do it. It's something I feel very passionate about. I have for a long time, but now it's even more relevant. Folks, this country has never been about democracy. It's always been about control. See, we live in what is known as an indirect democracy, and there are three reasons why that is. First is the archaic Electoral College, which, by the way, no other democracy uses. Why? Because they know it's a fucking poison. Secondly, we elect ass clowns to go and talk for us instead of us voting on policy and us voting for what we really want. See, they don't put that toward the ballot on federal shit because we got to send some asshole up to Washington and hope to God they stand up for us, and they don't. Third and final, we have a two-party system in this country. Most democracies have three, at least three. Now, yeah, that could sound like it could be chaos, but here's the thing. We used to have an avenue for a third-party system in this country. But in the early 90s, after Ross Perot damn near beat out Clinton and Bush, he brought him up to sweat stage. The two parties got together and said, hey, let's make sure this doesn't happen again. So they basically said, well, let's put all these roadblocks up so a third party system is just unimaginable. We're going to find a way around it, and here's how we're going to do it. They laid down all kinds of different things for them to have to do that the Democrats and Republicans don't have to. They have to do extra fundraising. They have to get specific demographics to vote for them. They have to basically be sponsored by either a Democrat or Republican party. And how is that a viable third party if you have to abide by the other two? That's ridiculous. Truth of the matter is, folks, that's why Bernie Sanders didn't run as a third party candidate in 2016 or 2020. Because he knew that because of the shifty back dealings they did in the 90s, the Democrats and Republicans stacked the deck against a third party. So he said he would not run as a third party candidate because he knew he would not be given a chance. That should change. Because a third party candidate and a third party in, say, the Senate and the House would not be chaos. It sounds like it might be, but it isn't. Because we would be replacing some of these assholes that are sitting there and saying, well, we don't like this because we believe that we want to go in this direction. And then you've got the Republicans over here that says, no, we don't do that because we're going to be obstructionist. And then you got the Democrats, for you Republicans out there, who will be like, well, we want to do this thing over here. And then the Democrats are like, no. And then you have to fuck with the filibuster. They're not going to do that. Well, Republicans will, but Democrats won't. That's one of the reasons why they're cowards. But it comes down to this, folks. These people expect us to just constantly eat this bag of dog shit. We have to choose between two fucking turds. That is not a democracy. That is us choosing between two dictators and hoping to God that one of them, the one we choose, and that is in danger every time we vote, but we have to choose and hope to God our choice isn't detrimental to society. Like Trump, for example. And I don't give a fuck what you say. That dude was a fucking shit show. He was a shit show. I mean, he wanted. I'm not going to get into that. But, folks, they're about to try to overturn elections again. They're going to do this fucking coup shit again. And now it's very possible if a Republican wins in, say, Pennsylvania, for governor, they could just as easily throw out the Electoral College. They could have their Secretary of State be a hatchet man. So we got to do something about this. They're never going to give us the right to vote on our own shit, on our policy, and on our wants and needs. Because if they gave us that power, politicians wouldn't have any power. Corporations wouldn't have any power. We wouldn't have to eat the shit that they give us because we would make them work for us. But they're not going to do that. We send people to Washington and we hope they'll work for us. They never do. Some of them do. Most of them don't. They work for themselves in their own self-interest. And until this shit stops, and it's both parties, it's Democrats and Republicans. Don't fucking think that this is a bipartisan. This isn't bipartisan. This is absolutely nonpartisan. Because this is coming from the thought process of, what the fuck are you all going to try to do about this? What the fuck can we do about it? Well, for one, we can actually tell, say, the Republicans, because they're the only ones that would get in the fucking way for this, to fuck off for at least 2 years. And we get rid of the Electoral College. We've got to. That's the first step. We get rid of the Electoral College. The popular vote dictates who wins presidents. I mean, come on. And yeah, I know, I gaffed a little bit. I said who wins presidents. Who wins the presidential elections. And see, in Colorado, they want to install an electoral college in their state legislature, therefore undermining the will of the people. That should not be allowed to pass. If they pull shit like that, they're taking every ounce of your voice away. We have to retake our voice. We have to demand that our politicians do something fucking about it. And if they don't, we vote them the fuck out and put someone else in who will. Because this shit's got to stop. And I guarantee you the GOP is not going to want it to stop, because Bush got installed by the Electoral College, actually got installed by the Supreme Court. And Trump didn't win the popular vote twice, and he was put in office at least once. That's liable to happen again. And do you think for 1 second that he won't bomb the fuck out of Mexico and, start World War III? That motherfucker will start World War III as soon as he gets a whole bunch of yes men in there to do the fucking job and not get politicians in there to fucking check him. So, folks, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, this is an important fucking deal. You all can get candidates that will be popular amongst all people if you know candidates that are willing to reach across the aisle. Why do you think Democrats are more popular than Republicans? And they are. I don't give a fuck what you say. There's actual proof that this is a very liberal nation controlled by conservatives. So we got to stop the Handmaid's Tale bullshit. We got to stop the fucking conservative bullshit, because here's the deal. We are a progressive nation. Technically not even liberal. American liberalism is just conservatism dressed pretty. It's not what you think it is. True liberalism would be what Sweden has, what Norway has. Those countries have progressive governments, and they're successful. We don't have that. They have direct democracies. We don't. Do you see the problem? Until we fix this, we have to fight. And we fight with our votes. We fight with our voices. We don't go and take up arms and decide we're going to overturn a free and fair election by force. We don't do that. A democracy does not do that. That is the beginnings of an authoritarian regime. Don't believe me? Go and look up how Saddam Hussein maintained power. Go look at how the Soviet Union maintained power. Go look at every dictatorial regime. Think about the Khmer Rouge, Pol Pot. There's a perfect example. That guy took by force, and he committed massive crimes against humanity. And it took his people to finally rise up against that to stop it. That's where we're heading right now. If we allow this shit to go down and continue the path that we are on, the only way we stop it, the only way we end it, is to finally stand up, vote, get the conservatives out of office. And I know in states like where I live, that's a fucking impossibility. But there are swing states that aren't. And those folks really need to step up their game. I live in the South, in a deep red state. They're never going to vote a Democrat in for office specifically unless they are legitimately like a MAGA Democrat. It's just facts. And it's because the conservative mindset is fucking toxic here. I can't go anywhere without seeing a rebel flag and a Trump flag. Like, these guys are literally, like, I don't know, they're hard for Trump. But regardless, we fix the third party disparity. We allow our people to have the voice instead of just relying on assholes we send to Washington. And we abolish the Electoral College. In order to abolish that, we need 2/3 majority vote in the House and the Senate. Republicans will never give you that. If anything, they would do everything in their power to make sure it remained solidified. We can't have that. Don't reform it, end it. Good night, everybody. I love all y'all. Peace.